one final question. What's the finishing move and what round am I going to see it in?
Round 1.
Yeah, of course.
After 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
I feel like it could be a spinning elbow or a rear naked choke.
Oh, your elbows are dangerous. I would say you're professional as hell. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, give it a rest over there. As one of the best joins us today, Meatball, Molly, McCann, the absolute strawweight beast. I'm so beyond excited. You are my first UFC fighter. And considering I have a background in fighting, I'm really shocked it took me this long, but I saved the best for the first. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here today, girl.
That's okay. I'm going to need some of your energy, I think. It'll rub off on me for sure.
Just call. Listen, I coach people like you. Just call. I'll get you riled up before. You don't want to handle this. This is going to be too much for you, girl. So let's talk about it. You're literally in the last, what? Are you in the last day of camp? Day or two of camp? Or are you just finished?
Tomorrow's the last day.
Oh, wow.
So we're in England and we're fighting on Las Vegas time, which is 8 hours difference. So at the minute, I'm going to sleep at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning here. But I can't sleep past 8 a.m. because of the sun.
Okay.
Because it's bright. And no matter if I've got blackout blinds or my eye mask on, I'm really struggling. So when we set this up, I was like, right, let's put it at this time because that'll be in between my training sessions. And hopefully it'll give me a bit of a like kick up the arse.
I'll kick you up the ass. Don't worry.
You'll have to catch me first, Kels.
Oh, you know what, love? I can't. I got a torn knee right now, so you'll be a lot faster than me. So that's just where we're at. Yes. It's good. So let's talk about it. Number one, thanks for making the time in between your training camp. You are fighting on my son's birthday next week, and you are got a special one ahead of you. You're up against somebody I'm curious to see how this one's going to go because I know that she's beaten your girlfriend before. You asked for this fight. You've looked forward to, is it bad to say beating the shit out of her? I mean, isn't that the truth though? Isn't that what we're talking about? You're in this to win. So let's talk about her.
Yeah, so Bruna Brasil, everyone was joking saying it's not fair Molly's fighting a whole nation because she's from Brazil, you know. This is my 9th Brazilian I've fought in 20 professional fights. I normally go to war. I think like Irish, Scousers, Mexicans and Brazilians like fight with this and not so much this. So I'm very much expecting a scrap. She beat my girl last year, last July. And when I decided to drop a weight category, I was like, well, let me fight her. And last year I was getting ready. We was getting ready for the fight night. And I've walked into the changing room, the warm-up room, and I'm like the co-main event. It's in London, so it's in my home nation. And her coach looks at me and they start speaking in Portuguese and they walk out. And then someone from the UFC walks in and went, Molly, you're going to have to come out. I was like, sorry, what? Like, am I getting a random drugs test? Like, what is it? Have I done something wrong? And they go, no, they don't want you in that room. I went, why? And they went, because you're on Shauna's team. Like, that's your girl. Like, what if you talk about? And I was just like, are you taking the fucking piss? I was like, wow, that's like, if I've ever seen weakness in someone's mind, I've been in change rooms with my opponents, training partners, and smash the mitts or go to town and be like, yeah, go and fucking tell them what I'm doing. But I just, it didn't rub me up the wrong way, but I just thought, if I could fight anyone, let me just fight her then. Her fighting style is a brilliant style. It's very much, it's like mine, but it's not. So I'm more hands heavy and she's more like leg heavy. So she's a little bit taller than me. She cuts a bit more weight than what I do, even though I've dropped the weight category. And I feel like we're both just going to stand in the pocket and go, let's fucking go. And you are right. Like, I suppose we're all a little bit fucked in the head who fight, because who would want to get into that kind of situation? But I do feel like it's the biggest form of self-expression that I know. And it's not like when I get in there and I'm going, let's go. That's because I'm like, I'm willing to see your best move and counter that and put you on your ass. And she's very much like that as well. But it'll be interesting to see who takes the first step back.
Well, I'm going to be watching to see, because I already knew before I knew the date you were fighting, and I reached out to my booker and I was like, you think I can get her before the fight? Because I want to talk to her about a few of her strategies around this, because I know that Bruna is very much leg heavy. So all I could think to myself was like, just, I want to see how you handle that, because it's so different. But more importantly, you moved weight classes and you've been shifting. And I don't know, and then maybe people that are fighters, but maybe our listeners, which are predominantly American and men, how hard it is to shift weight categories as a female. It is radical.
Yeah. The reason being for the shift was, if I fought a striker at the weight above, because that's my bread and butter, I was always still able to outmaneuver them through grit, like resilience, and like just heart. And then if I fought someone whose grappling was to the level of my striking and they was heavier, I really struggled with the size difference. And I'm like maybe you in that weight division. I was too small. Pardon me, sorry, the Pepsi.
No.
Like
It's
Paddy
all
the
good,
Baddy.
girl.
And when I dropped I lost 2 fights back to back, and I was just kind of like, fuck this. If people are just going to take me down and just ruin a match, like, I don't say ruin a match, but I fight for the fans and the crowd and for people to go, oh, like, oh my God. And them kind of fights were just lay and pray, boring. All right, you broke my arm, but fuck, it's shit. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
I kind of had nowhere to go. It was like, do I fight for money or do I fight to be a world champion? And them two things are polar opposites. Like, if you're fighting for money, when the going gets tough, the tough fuck off. So like if you're getting pounded and you think, oh, I've got paid there, it's like you'll give in. Like, people do that. You see in people's careers, when they've passed the point of winning a belt and they take a shot, they just turn away. And a saying in Liverpool would be, they swallow it. So they just swallow it and they don't want to know. And I was like, I'm not ready for that, Kel. So me coaches was like, right, it was hard for you to make 125 if you dieted for a month. Let's go for 3 months and see where you can go. And it was funny because I cut less weight in like sweating off to make 115 than I ever did for 125. So that last fight I had in February at 115, I cut like £3, which is like unheard of. It's not really a cut, really. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like an hour of uncomfortableness.
Yeah.
But the 3 months, Kels, let me
Leading
tell you,
up.
it probably cost me my relationship and my engagement to my ex-fiance, because I was just a fucking bitch. But yeah, this time round, I realised after that fight that I was always supposed to be there. And the difference for the listeners or the viewers watching, to make the weight last time, I just ran the weight off. This time I kept the weight low, and I've been like on the track, being explosive, more plyometric work, lifting heavier weights. So I still lift the same weights as I did as a 125 or as I do as a 115, which is like mad. And
Power.
yeah. And I think, like, you've been commenting on my socials, I think you can see my body looks completely different again from the last time it
Yes.
looked.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about how you're feeling with it, because, you know, when you cut weight, and I've been seeing the explosive training, and I think that's really fascinating to me, because if you go from being a bit heavier, and when you're able to get down to that weight, like, you're a different level, your twitch muscles are a different level, and you're just pushing. I'm so excited to see how you react and how your reaction time has changed.
Yeah, and I think I used to be an amateur boxer, and I won the national championships in England, and in America that would be called like the Golden Glove competition, where everyone in America would fight off and box off. So I won that at a lighter weight. And I used to move like that because you wouldn't cut weight because you'd weigh in and then fight 2 hours later.
Right.
So I was just like, bam, 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 bam. And I feel like now my power and explosivity is just like, I'm just like this at the minute. And
Yeah.
I've never I've never had a fight camp go so well in training. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had a few, like, I've had some niggles, I've had a broken toe, like, I've had some little bits I've had to overcome, but it's like, thank fuck I'm finally at the point in my career where it's all coming together, and so this is how it's supposed to be. I think when you get into that peak of the mountain, it should all. I'm like, I'm just about to view the whole view at the top of the mountain, and it feels. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm fucked. Like, me and Paddy in the gym, we're giving everything that we can to every training session. Like, to have the fight in the northwest of England, like where I am now in my house, the fight is 30-minute drive from here.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's not my city, it's the city of Manchester, and we're obviously Liverpool, but it's home, it's the northwest, and oh yeah, it's just, it'll all be worth it on the night.
Oh, I'm genuinely so excited. I wish I could be at this one because this is going to be a doozy. It really is. Just to watch your kind of come up through the sport, to watch your resiliency. I'm really glad that you brought that up because you've showed a different side of resiliency. And I'm going to argue that's the English in you because I don't see that from every type
That's
of
the
woman.
Scouse, Kelsey.
Oh, Jesus.
Right,
Here we go.
Liverpool's probably a little bit like Texas, but left wing. So we're like the People's Republic of Liverpool. Like we're our own kind of vibe. Maybe a little bit like Detroit, very working class. The government kind of like left, like didn't want anything to do with us. So I think our history is a rich history of like blue collar, working class, family first, sport. You play fighting, you play soccer or football, or you fight, or you make music. That's what we're good for. And yeah, there's just something a bit different in us. And I think the resiliency in my career just comes like, I'm just a normal person, and I'm like, no airs, no graces, warts and all. Like, I will show you everything. And I started this sport at 23. My first fight was at 24. So I had 3 amateur fights and then went professional because no one would fight me. So I got signed to the UFC off 8 pro bouts, and I had to learn and learn the trade on the job. And I lost big and I've won big, and I think it's really important that there is someone like me and has a career like mine. So it's not always going to be like a Caitlin Clark career or a Michael Jordan that comes from like from the beginning. It's just like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is fucking real life shit. Life throws curveballs at me. Life throws everything at me, and I think the older I've got, the more I've been able to control my emotion and deal with it. And then I think my performances have then become more polished. So it would be, I was fighting for everyone else, I was fighting for me, and it was just so much of this. And now I've actually learned how to like control the chaos. So I'm in the eye of the tornado. Like, but before I was just fucking in the tornado. Do you know?
Yeah. Well, that was one of the, you so beautifully segued into that. That was one of the parts I wanted to discuss and talk about a little bit because I see so many similarities in the way you and I were raised and the way that we have that, blue collar family first. You were fighting or you were motocross or you were a farmer or you're playing hockey. Like, it's just, that's the vibe. And I started fighting at 4, but I stopped at 20 and you started at 23. So I want to understand, I mean, you were fighting before that, you were a boxer before that, but what made you go, this is like the career, this is when I want to go all in, this is 100% of where I see my future?
I was believe it or not, I went to university, so I went to college.
Why do you say that?
Well, like, have you heard me speak?
Stop right off. Listen, stop it. I have served with people from your space before, and they're by and large some of the smartest, funniest people I know. Just because you decide to sound differently doesn't mean you're not smart. Stop it.
Yeah. I think I used to be a professional soccer player. That was like, the money wasn't like it is now, or it was never like how it is in America. When I was like in college and we call college like the end of high school, and then we go to university. So when I was in college, my mum kind of said, when you've got a degree, you can go and do what the fuck you want. But if you get injured, what are you falling back on? So when I was at university, I was learning to be a PE teacher, physical education. Obviously,
I would pay for you to come live here to teach my child if he could turn out anything like.
No, because you want to hear the way I speak to them. Are you messing? Are you joking? Get back in.
I wish.
To bed. Yeah. Now, I was at college. I was at university. I was in the last semester. I was just finishing my thesis, and we would say dissertation in England, but you call it a thesis out there. And I watched Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche, and I just was like, oh my fucking God. I can kick because I'd done karate, I'd done kickboxing. I can punch because I boxed. At university, I played a bit of rugby, so I thought, yeah, I'll wrestle. And I was just besotted. Like, I never went back to uni. I messaged the lecturers and just said, look, I'll finish everything from home or virtually. I'm gonna go and do UFC. And they was like, what is UFC? I was like, I feel like I'm gonna go and do it. And he was like, how long have you been doing it for? I was like, I actually haven't started my first classes tonight. And they're like, oh, this is such a Molly McCann story. Like, what the fuck? But listen, Kels, when you know, you know.
No, it's the truth. No, there you go. Hold on.
Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna fucking kill me mum. She's locked herself out.
Oh no, take your time. It's all good, sweetheart.
Mum, I'm on the podcast. For fuck's sake, she's out here walking the dogs.
Come on, Mum. What are you doing, Mum?
Mum, will you close the door so the dogs don't run upstairs, please? Right.
Might be my favorite part of our episode right there.
I know. Fuck's sake,
that's such a mom move too, though. I've done that. It's like, what are you doing? You know, I'm busy.
I know. Well, she's helping me out because I'm in camp, so she's walking the dog. So I'll have to thank her for that.
Can't even be that mad now, can you?
I know. Where was I?
So you decided you were gonna go. You're like you said, this is just a typical vibe for you.
This is typical. Like, I get a feeling, I get a vibe, and I just run with it. And I walked into the gym, and the first lesson he taught was an arm bar, because I was the only girl in the class, and he went, right, because she's done that arm bar, let me teach her how to do this. I was like, yes. And I was awful. I was fucking shit. And I was like, and I'm used to being good at, like, I've got transferable skills. And I was like, oh, I haven't tapped into this part of my brain before. And then that was me. Like, I'd boxed, I'd played football, I'd done every combat sport, and nothing could keep me in off the drink or from partying. I was just like, ooh. And this was it. This was fucking it. And I just said to Paul Rimmer, my coach, I said, the day I walked in, he said, what you want out of this? Is like, I want to be a world champion. I want to win a world title in Liverpool. I want to be in the UFC. I want a house. I want to be married. I want kids, and I want a degree, and I want to drive. And he's like, right, okay. And then that was that. But the good thing was, because my degree was in teaching, the way he taught didn't work for me. So it worked for everyone else, but for me, I was just like, I'm not kind of getting it. So I would tell him what worked for me. And then 5 years to the day of walking in the gym, I headlined the arena of 7,000 people, won a world title, and we just sat there and was like, oh my God, this is big. And then a week after that got signed to the UFC. So it was Yeah, it was some good going. It was fast paced. I completely I have give myself to this sport and this game. I have absolutely done that.
But I think that's what it takes, right? If you really want to achieve the things you say you want to achieve, it's going to cost you your old life. And people don't understand that concept. This isn't a for fun thing. This is, if you're not on point, you can get seriously injured. You can suffer traumatic brain injuries, break bones, and you could be done for good. And that's always something I wish, when people watch the UFC, they're like, they ask me quite often, like, how do you watch that with your son? Like, does your son like it? And I said, he watches it with me because we sit there and we can explain the moves and how they're moving. And is he controlling the ring? Oh, no, now they're controlling. Like, we talk about the technicalities of it and how you can, believe it or not, keep yourself safe. There is ways to do so. But there is this misconception and perception that the UFC is just violence. It's just sheer uncontrollable violence when that couldn't be further from the truth.
Do you know how I like to? Before I used to drive, I'd get taxis or Ubers to and from the gym, and sometimes if they went, "Oh, what do you do?" I say MMA, and they're like, "Oh, cage fighting," and I had to pick and choose if I had it in me to fight the corner in that day, because sometimes I just go, "Oh, I'm a personal trainer." If I was tired and couldn't be bothered, but how I like to articulate it now, I do 5 Olympic disciplines in one.
Yeah.
Now that takes 10,000 hours to master one. Now fucking come at me, bro, because I'm doing 4, 5, or 6, depending on.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, don't even fucking step to me. It is poetry in motion. You are setting traps. It is less brutal than boxing. I love boxing. That is my first love. Soccer and boxing, first love. But the way that you can put it all together and lose like that just by moving an arm that way or turning this way, it's unbelievable. And I think it comes a lot more down to like philosophy and stuff. And like Bruce Lee was the man who made it all. Do you know what I mean? And he brought it all together. And it's all about progression. Like, people won't understand that it's the journey. So it's not about actually getting that strap and that belt. It's about the person you are every day, who you choose to be every day, and how you become a better person. Martial arts and MMA and mixed martial arts and all combat sports, to be fair, it's about that code, the code of honor, discipline, integrity, moral compass, values, community. And people won't normally hear me speak like that, but people in the circle, and when you're in our gym, that's how we act. Like, when some people come from other gyms and say our coach is demonstrating something and they're just sat on the floor like that, I like give them a nudge. I go, fucking stand up and respect them. Do you know what I mean? Bow onto the mat, show that. And like, people probably would never think that of me, but that's how I see it. And it is all a part of a journey to kind of a higher enlightenment. And again, people would never ever think that in the sport of what I do.
See, this is the stuff I was hoping we were going to get to, but I also know that there is a way that fighters present themselves and the perception they want to have of that reality. And I know that you're a lot more open, but this is my bread and butter right here. What you're talking about, this is so special and so unique. And I think this is what sets you apart from so many of the other female fighters, is because, and I mean this I'm brought to you by Mindful Meds. You guys have been seeing me take Mindful Meds for a little while now. Mindful Meds is a premium supplement company dedicated to supplying humans with the tools to improve their mental health, clarity, and performance, all while supporting their growth along the way. Whether it's the Immunity Blend, Lion's Mane, Inspire, or Voyage, all of their products are clean, tested, consistent, and they've become a huge help in my life. I found Mindful Meds over a year ago now, and I've never looked back. Go check out their website, mindfulmeds.io, and use the code BRASS at checkout. The most respectful way. You choose, you fight with women, but you choose to surround yourself with other men. And it takes a very specific type of female to be in that male-dominated world and show up with that level of willingness and respect. And I think martial arts, because of the UFC, to some extent, you know, they don't show the philosophical stoicism. They don't show that side of the fighter where it is highly respected, unless it's like an individual sport. Like, it was no different than Taekwondo, right? Like, if you ever looked at your coach the wrong way, that was disrespectful. Like, oh, constantly, right through a wall once. It was a bad, I learned a lesson. I never did it again. But I think this is the side of people. This is the side I know people are going to be so excited to see, because when you look at the mind game, what fighting is, it's the mind. If you can win the mind, you can win anything. So without giving all your secret sauce away, what have you done so differently these past couple fights that have set you up psychologically to be, I don't know, you just seem like you're reacting. You can see your wheels are turning in real time.
Probably a culmination of a lot of things, but I left home at 16, so I kind of just like, I didn't bring myself up because, like, obviously my parents did and my family did, but a lot of learning was done on my own out in the big world, and I probably didn't have people bringing me in check or keeping me accountable to myself in different kinds of ways. And I think the bigger the fights I've got, the bigger the wins I've got, the more I've realised, that behaviour isn't probably becoming of me, or I was fighting for different reasons, or not that I was never uncultured, because I've travelled the world my whole life, but in them situations, I think the only way I knew how to win and to fight was like, brash, I'm off the street, I am a fighter, that's what I fucking am. And then the more life has given to me financially, the more settled I am in who I am, I know who I am, the more that the bravado has dropped. And I think a lot of therapy has helped me understand my workings and just getting rid of trauma, to be fair. I'd done a lot of trauma where we realised I had abandonment stuff. And when my stepdad passed away when I was 25, my abandonment attached itself to fighting. So when I was winning and I was doing well in the gym, I was feeling good about myself, and I would get the pat on the back and the love of male coaches that I like lacked as a younger Molly. And then when I lost, it would feel like it being taken away from me. So I was being abandoned by the sport and by the fans and this. And that was really tough to take. And then just through learning about myself, I've learned to disconnect them things. I've worked through my things. And I'm probably at the space, like, personally, the last 5-6 months have probably been the hardest personally, as an adult, going through breakups with friendships and my partner and stuff, all for the right reasons, without being toxic, without like running something into the ground and reacting the old way in which I would have. And I just like accompany that to the growth of myself as a person. And you see, I would fight with so much heart and like, and now, because I'm not just running off fight or flight and adrenaline, now I see things a lot clearer. And like, I used a really funny, well, it's not a funny analogy, but a weird one. Like, I just felt like Neo in the Matrix, like in that cage, it slowed down, and I seen it. And I apply myself ever since I've competed in anything. I've give as much of myself to every fight camp as I could, and out of camp, I'm always still in the gym trying to learn. But I just feel like I have the financial resources now to take it up a whole nother gear. Recovery wise, food, nutrition, mental well-being, just grounding myself a lot more. Don't get me wrong, I'll still go out and buy fucking a watch or sneakers. I would call them trainees, but you probably call them sneakers. Like, I still have impulsivity and I still have things that I need to learn and that, but I just think, fuck, I could die in the cage next week. Like, if I'm going out, I'm going to have a nice watch or a nice car with me. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, but you worked for it. Look where you came from. You did the job. You got it done. You deserve some of these things. I think, like you said, it's all in balance, right? It's just when you're in fight or flight, or you're in these trauma spaces, and this is what my audience is used to, is we talk about this regularly. When you're in the trauma space, when you can't think outside of yourself, when you're in the lizard brain and everything's reactionary, and it's by the time you react, you sit back and you go, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think there's a learning curve that happens now. Because how old are you now, Molly?
34.
Yeah. So I think you're a year younger than me. So I think, I don't know about you, but as a female, when you hit 30, did you notice a shift?
Right. On my 30th birthday, I was in another relationship. I was just like, fuck this. No. I went and got blonde in my hair, Botox, and I just thought, I'm not fucking taking shit no more. I'm not taking shit no more. And I just became a lot more spiritual, and I just really got into that space. And I literally said this to someone yesterday. By the time you hit 33, you've had enough of your own bullshit and you're ready. Like, I can look at myself in the mirror and go, I'm fucking proud of every hair on my body. Like, I am. And the bits that aren't so great about myself, that's good because I acknowledge them and I know what I'm about and I know what my triggers are now and I know how to remove myself from that space and not make it worse. It's not going anywhere. I'll still fly off the fucking handle because that's built in me. That's who I am. And that's my survival instinct, to survive this fucking world that I've been brought up in. But I'm learning a little bit better, made more boundaries with people, stick to them. I don't let people disrespect me. And yeah, that 33, 34 age, I think that's when, all right, let's fucking heal.
Oh, I'm so, not that you need this in any way, but I'm really proud of you to see that you've come that far, because I don't think people fully understand what that means to be able to face that head on.
Listen, I started EDMR therapy in October, and I haven't had it for like the last 6 weeks because being this close to camp, and we had like a family bereavement, so there's just a lot of grieving going on. I thought I've got it. Like, I'm just gonna park this.
Yeah,
That's okay.
it might be smart.
I'm feeling good right now. I don't really feel like I want to touch anything because all I've done for 7 months is cry. All I've done is cry. And I said to my mum, if you had told me this is how hard it was, I would never have fucking started. And I always said to my mum, I'll open Pandora's box when I finish fighting. Because what if I become too zen and I can't be the Molly McCann I need to be to fight? Like, my whys changed. And I was scared would it change for the right or the wrong way. But yeah, the hardest, saddest 7 months of my life, and I've come through it all. And the release of the trauma that was like stored in here from being a kid, all gone. But everyone can see the difference in me, and it's like you don't even know me, and you can see it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the last fight camp and this camp, my coach is just like, this is everything I've ever wanted from an athlete. Do you know what I mean? Like, people are just like, we just don't see people apply themselves like the way you do. And it's nice because I wouldn't change one day. I say to my mum, like, I would not change one day of my life. I wouldn't change one step in our journey that we've had or I've had, because it's made me who I am. And I am this resilient because of what I've been through. But obviously the triggers and the trauma and that, like you're saying, when you're in that reactionary thing, there's no telling you. But you have to work through it. And there was a big part when I really dropped the veil. I was very vulnerable, and I was just so embarrassed every day because I was crying all the time, and I was like, oh, this is so unattractive in my relationship, and it's just like it like wedged me and her away from each other because I was just feeling appalled in myself. Do you know what I mean? That every day she'd come home and I'd just be in the bath crying, and it's really hard to put that on someone else, but I also wouldn't change that, because I wake up every day and look in the mirror when I'm cleaning my composite bonds.
Yeah, they're
And,
so pretty now.
and I'm like, yeah, I got them. Yeah,
That's right, you did.
Yeah, I'm in this house. Yeah, I'm living the
Yeah,
life.
you did this.
Dream. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's what's special. You know, I think that's the hard thing with relationships and people who have experienced past traumas that maybe that person wasn't there for. I know when I met my husband, we'll be married to 10 years tomorrow. And when we first met, he met me right before I deployed. He didn't know me at all. And then I came home not healthy,
Fucked.
very
Yeah.
sick. Yeah, fucked is correct.
Fucked.
Yes, super fucked up.
Yeah.
And so it takes it's hard, because at some point you have to decide, is this the person, are we going to spend our lives together? And we have to understand that you're going to be the rock at this point, and then I'm going to be the rock at this point, and that we have to know that sometimes it's going to, you know, some days you're going to have 90%, some days I'm going to have 10%, and it's this dance that happens. But the beautiful thing is that you're able to, and you were able to express it. And regardless of you being together anymore, I think you being willing to be that vulnerable around another human being that is already, you know, supposed to be this person for you, but you being willing to do that, knowing that this has a potential chance to change how they feel about you, but you just have to let it out, because at certain points you can't carry the bricks in the backpack anymore. And there's a doctor that I'm like obsessed with in America. He's a good friend, Dr. John Deloney, and he used this saying, and it hits, right? Like, they're not your bricks to carry anymore. You've got to put them down. Right. And so I'm so sad that it didn't work out, but I think that I think, you know, there's probably, it's for a reason, right?
Yeah. And we came into each other's life for a purpose, you know, and I was so caught off guard when there was probably times when I wasn't great, and there was times that she wasn't great, because of the pressure of overnight our life flipped on its head with like the fame, the TV shows, the this, that, the other. And we were both growing and learning at different times. But I do think that the therapy recently opened my eyes to see people for who they are. I think behavior and words are two different things. And
things don't match up. You start to notice.
And I think if I hadn't have done the therapy, I wouldn't have respected my boundaries within the relationship. And I'm not putting this on here saying it's her fucking fault. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's a joint thing that we both that have gone that way. But she can now go and live her career in the best, like, she was nurtured. I watered her, I fed her, I give her every chance to build mental resilience and fortitude in ways she would have never experienced. I took her around the world, and we had these amazing times together. And she taught me, like, to be grounded, what a family unit looks like, how to be a bit more professional, because she worked in the sporting world, but in, like, operation side. And I didn't, at the beginning when we split up, I was like, you've just robbed 3 years of my biological clock. And then that's what I thought in my head, because I thought I was older, and I thought, oh, I've put kids on hold, and then that was just like a knee-jerk reaction, and I thought, well, actually, she's actually given me this. So looking back in hindsight, we've given each other so much, but it wasn't right for either of us in the end, and we both get to leave without, like, destroying the other one, which people sometimes do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if kids are involved, it gets nasty really, really fast, right?
Well, we only had 2 fair babies, but I got the deeds.
No,
I'm only messing. No, but I think if I hadn't have done the therapy, I wouldn't have stuck to the boundaries, and I would have then carried on people pleasing. And you said this thing, Dr. Deloney. Well, I've got one for you, Beyonce. And she said, if I lose myself, I lose it all. And within this moment of becoming the best me, if I would have stayed in that I wouldn't have been safe. I would have been triggered,
Mm.
and I wouldn't have been able to fight in a safe space and be the best me. So I had to do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? For
Yeah,
me to
for
be the
sure.
best me, and for me to give my career the opportunities it deserves, and the commitment, and I've got to give my whole self. You know, you don't go to war not in the right headspace, because if you're like rattled and you're not on it,
Mm.
you're not coming out alive. Do you know what I mean?
No. Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the beautiful side of things is when we're able to start viewing our life as this life is happening for me and not to me,
Yeah.
that's when we can really take that and be like, okay, you know what? It sucked. It was terrible. I get it. And it hurt so bad. I thought I would never survive. Yes, and now look what it gave me. Look how clear I'm able to look at things. Look at how I'm able to react and be this professional person you always dreamt of being. And you know, when you said to me before, I couldn't help myself, like that whole coach thing in me was like, shut up, shut up. You said, you're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and I want to do this. And my whole time I just kept going, no, but you are doing those. So I am doing this. I am that champion. I am this. I just, my brain was like reframing words constantly in my head.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
So you kind of came onto my radar, I would say probably a few years ago. And I started watching you, and I think I found out about you through a mutual veteran who said, did you see that Paddy guy fight? Did you see that Paddy guy fight?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. And he goes, did you listen to his speech at the end?
Yeah.
And I went, and I listened to it, and I went, okay. And the reason I bring that up is because you guys just did this docu-series together with BBC, which I had no clue about until I think yesterday.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it, but the clips I've seen looked banging. So what brought that all about?
The north of England and the BBC haven't always had a great relationship.
You think?
Yeah, and I think up north we speak a little bit maybe too liberal and too honest, and the south doesn't always see what the north sees. I feel like in America, like the south is like the north of England and the north is like the south. So
Yeah.
it's like that. So the money in England is down south, and the less, like, it becomes a bit more impoverished the more north you go. And they approached us and said we want to do a reality TV show, and I went, fucking right, come on then. And so it started out a little like the first episode. We was just thinking it was going to be like one of Paddy's vlogs where they follow us around, because you can't make me and Paddy do something. Like we don't really know. We can't lie. We can't act. It's like we're just us. So the first episode, they was like, right, it's going to be like this, 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 and this. And we went, oh my fucking God, no, not a chance. It would have been a little bit like like a Kardashian, like the first series. No, maybe not Kardashian. Maybe like, like a Love Island, or like,
What?
well, not like we're like pretending to fall in love, but just like kind of fake situation. Oh, no,
Yeah.
the OC. Like putting us in
Oh,
bars and getting us to like talk about this, and I'm like, no. So that kind of just got like bypassed, and then they just followed us, and then they was like, oh my God, we've got storylines. Like we didn't even have to write them. I was like, it's me and Paddy. Our life is like
why would you need to write storylines? Do you know who we are?
exactly, like fucking hell, me and him. Our life is just like that every day, and it came out so well. The BBC was really proud of it. We was really proud of it, because I basically said the music has to be all people from Liverpool, the bands, the sound has to be Scousers. We have to show local communities and charities, and you have to show all of it, the ugly truth, all of it. Maybe it's not like like us laughing, like honestly, like the things you see in that show, you see like Paddy doing stuff for the mental health charity he's involved with, me doing stuff with the food banks and the food pantry stuff that I'm involved with. We just got to shine a light on everything, and the weight cut, a whole fight camp, mine and his, and it was you see us for who we are and not who the UFC or media outlets would try to portray us to be. They couldn't write a narrative for us because we wouldn't give them one. And like if they'd ask us to film it or say something like in the master interviews when we're doing the interviews, they go, say that. No, I wouldn't speak like that. And I think the thing about me and Patrick is, and people will respect it or they won't, we're unapologetically ourselves. And that's how it's always going to be. And you can like it or you can lump it, but if you think you can give us shit online and not get it back, or you think you can have a preconceived judgment on someone or judge someone or any kind of inequality within our space, we are fucking coming for you. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what
I'm
we're
so
like.
obsessed. I'm
Yeah.
so obsessed. I can't even right now because that is what's missing from culture in the world right now with younger youth is this idea that you don't have to try to replicate someone else. If you are, human biology dictates that if you are authentic, it rises above everything else. You can't fake that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't buy it. Can't buy it.
It's not a watch, Molly.
I'm staring at a few now. I'm only messing. Right. The other side of this is my fight week outfits.
Fuck, you're cool. I just want to hang around you and just kind of watch this behavior throughout the day.
Listen, like I will end up on like Big Brother or I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in the Jungle. Or I'll end up on something like that. So you can really see. You'll be able to see it all.
No, I
the
love
face
it.
Doesn't like else it'll just go. Like I don't get Botox there, right? So that you can. So that I'm like, what?
So do you ever get shit from your people around you where they're like, your face reacted before your body had time to tell you to not react?
I think everyone knows me enough now because like I don't really have a big ego and I know I could take the room up, the air in a room if I wanted to. So I try to not, unless I've had a drink, then it's fucking fair game. But me and Paddy don't have yes men in our life. This city, there aren't many. It's the harsh truth. It'd probably be like living in New York. Do you know what I mean? It's like only the strongest survive here. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, no, it's quite easy in that fact, and people protect us, and I just try and put my best foot forward and represent the city the best that we can, and yeah, we're never really allowed to get above our station. I mean,
well, I think but that's why you two, this isn't about him. This is why you in particular stand out to people like me, is because you can tell you don't have yes people feeding you bullshit constantly. It's just not there. And that damages fighters, in my opinion.
100%. I remember years ago, my football team, my soccer team is Everton. And I remember going to it. Tim Howard used to pay for us and Landon Donovan. So we've had like loads of Americans. And I remember I'd done an interview with them before my world title fight. And they was like, a journalist there was like, would you like any media training? I said, mate, look at how many people watch my interviews and look how many people are staying and watch theirs. You don't know what's coming out of my mouth, and that's why people will always listen. So no, I don't really want to be that. I want to be my authentic self. And it did take me up until my 30s to be unashamed of it. Do you know what I mean? Like I had to let that trauma and that shit go. Like I can walk down the street in a pair of pajamas and a pair of slides and go in the shop and be like, you're all right, kids. And like just be fine with it. But like years ago, I'd be like, oh, I need to look a certain way. Or I was still always kind of cool in myself, but maybe I doubted myself a little bit more when now it's just like, there's not one thing someone control me with that I haven't heard or read. Like I've seen it all. There's like, I think like we've even had like fucking death threats and everything. Like we've had it all come at me. You know? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I was gonna say you're not the person I'm sending the death threat to.
Oh well, we have had them. Yeah, we have had them.
That's mad. I have Before we get going, I do have one other question, and this is maybe more of a serious one, but I've always been curious, right? Just
Let me
from
put the serious cap on.
Hold on. It's on for a second. We'll remove it before we end, I promise.
Glasses.
Yeah, put the glasses. Are you ready? Okay, there you go. Scrunt. How do you handle TBIs and concussions?
Oh my God, I don't want to jinx myself.
Okay, no, we're not talking about it then. We'll talk about it another time.
I'm
Stop
only
talking.
messing.
Take the hat off.
No, I'm only messing. I am yet.
You were a boxer though.
54 kilo, 112 pounds. So take this on the chin, or hear this. To upgrade the software, you don't break the hardware. I'm going to say that again.
Yeah.
To upgrade the software, you don't break the hardware.
Yeah.
If this needs to be sharper for fighting and for life, you can't break this. So when we spar, we have one, I call it a straightener. So in Liverpool, if you have a fight on the street, it's called a straightener, like bang, bang. So I have one of them a fight camp, and it's 3 weeks before the fight.
Okay.
Because fight week, you make them wait. The week before that is the taper down week, which is where I am now. And then last week was my last straightener. I'm a part of the English MMA Association, so I'm a head coach or an assistant head coach for the national team. And we work with people and putting in place after every show or every time someone's been knocked out in our gym, it's like a 90-day ban. No sparring. If you're knocked out in a fight in the UFC, it's 180 days, I believe, unless you've been to see a concussion specialist. Yeah, we take that very serious in what we do, and we're lucky we wear the big mitts and head guards and in the straighteners, and when we drill, because we're so strike and heavy in the UK and Europe, we just know, like, our hands, like my knuckles are actually like still all discolored.
I can see them. Because
we hit that hard, and it's like we go to the body as hard as we can into the legs, but like this, people have got to go to work, people have got kids, like we've come a long way. I think weight making, nutrition, and concussion has come a long way.
That makes sense. But look, I have to stop myself because I could do this for an entire day with you, and I need you to rest.
We can just have chat. I'll give you me little WhatsApp, and we can just have FaceTime. I'll let
Don't fucking tease me with a good time, Molly.
No, but what I'll let you do is next week, if I've got therapy on Monday, we go to the Fight Hotel on Tuesday. Wednesday or Thursday, I'll give you a call, or Friday, and you can prep me for the fight if you want.
Fucking let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. I gotta hold it together. Hold on. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end the show and we're gonna talk for a minute after this. So can you do me a favor and you let every single one of our listeners know, number one, why the hell should they be watching you fight? And number two, how do they support you in everything you do? The charities, your docu-series, how do they get to show up for you now, Molly?
If you've heard this and don't want to watch me fight, then you're fucking weird.
Yes.
If you want to see someone, leave it all in there. I always used to say, when I finish fighting, how would I like to be remembered? For every second of every minute of every round I was in that octagon, I was willing to give me life to get a finish and to win. And if you want to follow me, it's Meatball Molly on all handles, and Fans Supporting Food Banks is the charity that I do bits with. And basically, when you go to watch the soccer, everyone has to bring a can or something, and 40,000 people go to one game. Every kid in Merseyside, every kid in Liverpool should eat that night. So that's what we do. That's all we do. So we take the food and then we redistribute it. So have a little look, guys, and I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, they're going to enjoy the hell out of it. And if you guys have not seen her fight before, I do suggest that you go and check her out. One final question. What's the finishing move and what round am I going to see it in?
Round 1.
Yeah, of course.
After 3.5 minutes.
Okay.
I feel like it could be a spinning elbow or a rear naked choke.
Oh, your elbows are dangerous. Okay. I'm praying for this one because that's what I want to see. All right. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to hold you to it. You stick with me, sweetheart. Everyone else, we will see you all next week.